Welcome book lovers of YouTube and welcome back to another book talk. And look, I'm actually wearing my hair down for once. If you watched my other videos, you've noticed my hair is always up, and that's because it's getting extremely hot down here in Texas. And as of currently, we're in another cold snap and it's like 40 something degrees outside. I don't like this weather change. Anyways, I'm back with another book talk, and this book I finished last night and I was pleasantly surprised with it. And that book is Switched by Amanda Hocking, and this is the first book in the trial. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. It's in the white. Trial? I don't know, I just say trial. In the trial, and I believe it's a trilogy. This book is about a girl named Wendy, and she finds out she's a changeling, and a changeling is not exactly human, and what she really is she's a trial. And what they do is when they're born, they switch them out with a human being baby, and they are raised by humans, and then when they reach a certain age, I believe it's like 20 something, they are taken back to Forning, I believe that's the town, and they live out with their actual parents and all this stuff. And anyway, so Wendy finds out she's a changeling, and she has a tracker named Finn who tracks her down and is trying to get her to come back with him. And she finds out not only is she one of these weird mythical creatures, she's also the princess of their tribe. And it follows her adjusting to life in Forning and going through all this crazy crap, because then there's this other group of trial, but they're called the Vitra, I think, and they're trying to take her back, and it's just insane, and it's quite good. Now, if you haven't read the book, go read it and then come back and watch this video, because there are spoilers and I don't want to spoil you. Bye! Alright, for those of you who have read this book, I was extremely surprised by the way I started to like it at the end. I started reading it and I didn't exactly like it. Like, I thought it was boring and I couldn't get into it. And I'm not sure if it's because the beginning is just boring or because I was still on a book hangover from Allegiant. I finished Allegiant and I was crying, and the next day I picked up this book, and I think I was just disappointed because it wasn't Allegiant, and I'm not gonna tell you the ending broke my heart. Okay, anyways, that's not what this is about. This book, again, didn't like the beginning. I thought it was so boring, especially the prologue from 11 years in the past. Wendy is a whiny little brat. Like, if I ever talked like that to my parents, I would be beaten to next Tuesday. Anyways, it's like, rich kids can get away with like a lot of stuff. And then we meet Finn, and oh my gosh, I thought that Finn was like the biggest creeper ever, because he just sits there and stares at her like 24/7, and then he shows up outside our house, and that's crazy. Oh my gosh. But he sounded extremely attractive, so I could kind of forgive him for that. And then, you find out he's a tracker, and he's 22? I think I'd date him, and he is telling Wendy what she really is, that she's I believe he calls her a troll. They're trolls, but they don't like to be called trolls because everybody gets the wrong perception about them. And then after he said that, for the rest of the first half of the book, after he said that, all I could picture was like those little troll dolls with like, I don't know, and it was insane, and I just had to get back, like, they look like humans. They're not insanely weird looking little troll things running around. But yeah, in the beginning of the book I was thinking, Wendy has no common sense at all, because it's what, 3 in the morning, and there's a knocking at her window, and she sees somebody outside her window, and it's Finn, and what does she do? Of course she freaking opens the window to let him in. Like, what if he wasn't a good guy? What if he didn't turn out to be a good tracker? What if he was working for the Vitra and he just kidnapped you and you'd be dead, or he was like a crazy murder her or something. She'd be dead. She doesn't have any sense of anything. And then the second time, or she sees it outside her window, she thinks it's Finn and it's not. And then she goes outside, like, if it's Finn, I'm pretty sure he'd still be sitting outside your window waiting for you to open it to talk to him, not wanting you to go outside of the house and almost get kidnapped by these crazy other trackers. Oh my goodness, like, she just made me so mad at those points. And I'm like, girl, use your freaking brain. Like, come on. And then, you know, Finn rescues her from the Vedra, and it's a heroic rescue. And I was like, can I be Wendy for a second? Because I wouldn't even hesitate about saying yes to Finn and going off with him the first time he showed up. But anyways, and he takes her to Forning, and she meets her mother, Elora. Oh my god, she's like a cold-hearted bitch. Like, I don't know if I'd be able to live in the same house with a woman like that. Like, if my mom was like that, I don't think I'd be able to stay in the same house with her. Anyways, and we meet Rays. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. It's R-H-Y-S, Rise, whatever. And he is a Manxling. I believe that's how you say it. I feel so bad. I couldn't pronounce like half of the terms and stuff in this book. It was so weird. But anyways, he's a Manxling, and the first thing I thought, because he looks like Wendy's brother Matt and like her host family. He looks like them because he's blonde, he's got blue eyes, and he's obviously human. And so I automatically thought Michael, which is the baby Wendy was changed out for. And who was right? I was right. It turned out to be Michael, and we find out that a Manxling is the human baby that they changed the trial baby for, and they live out their lives in Forning with their host family, and when they become of 18, I think it is, they can leave or stay or whatever. And so we found out Rise is Michael, and I was like, this is gonna be interesting. And then there was that love thing that was going on between her and Rise, and I'm pretty sure he had a crush on her, but he wasn't gonna admit it, and it was awkward. It was like, that's so hard to think of, because that's like, he's like your brother, but he's not your brother at the same time. You took his place in his family, but like, that's just weird, because his brother is your brother, sort of, because you lived with Matt like for your entire life, and it's insane. And I was like, no, you need to stop. And then after that, there's Finn and Wendy. I think they're so adorable together, and with them breaking up, and well, I guess they were never really together, but like, you know what I mean? The day before the big ball, and in Elora's eyes, he messed it up, because she's just a job for him, and he has to remember that she's nothing more, and she likes him, and she's just like, no, he doesn't like me, I'm just a job and everything. And it turns out he does, and then Elora sees he has feelings for her, and then he decides the best thing for him to do is leave to protect her, and then he leaves, and she's heartbroken and is disturbing, and it's just like, why would you do that? Like, why? And then the big attack happens in the middle of the ball, and I was just like, alright, if Finn does not make another appearance, I'm going to throw this book across the room, because he has to come in and he has to save her, and he has to sweep her off her feet, because he's the Prince Charming, and, well, you get what I mean. Anyways, and he dies. I was so happy he came back, and then, you know, he stayed the night with her in her room, and I was like, this is it. I mean, we're close to the ending anyways, and they're gonna be together, and it's gonna be a happy ending, and to the next book. And then he left the next morning. You do not understand how upset I was. I was like, why would you leave? You like her, she likes you, just be together even though it's forbidden. I don't care. Forbidden love is like the best parts of books, and I love it, even though it tears me apart inside. That moves me into my next topic of this book talk, and that is the hierarchy of Forning. And at the top of the hierarchy, you know, you have the queen and the rest of the royal family, which is Elora and Wendy. Elora and Wendy. And then under that, you have the Marks and Marksina, I I believe that's how you pronounce it, and they're like dukes and duchesses. They're like right below the royal family. Like they're still royal, but they're not as royal as the royal family. And then they're there, and then under that you have the rest of the trial population, which is like all the townspeople and everything. And then under that you have trackers, which is where Finn is, and trackers are just like the rest of the trial, yeah, I'm just gonna say that, trial population, but they don't have any powers, and they aren't changelings, and they track down changelings and they bring them back to Forning and all this stuff. And that's where Finn is. And then under trackers you have the Manxlings, which are humans living in Forning, and it's really sad because they are so discriminated against for being human. It makes me sad. I'm like, they're still people too. I mean, yeah, sure, they're not whatever you are, but you shouldn't be mistreating them. I mean, you did technically take their lives away. Like, you put your child in their life that they were gonna live, and it makes me upset. Anyways, going back to the tracker thing. Trial, it is forbidden for Trial to be in a relationship with a Manxling, and it's not exactly forbidden, it's looked down upon for a Trial to be in a relationship with a tracker, and it is forbidden for anybody of the royal nature to be in a relationship with a tracker. And that's really sad because Wendy is the princess of the Trial Kingdom, and she is in love with Finn, and Finn is in love with her, and they deserve to be together, but they can't be together because it's forbidden, because if she goes and bees with Finn and they are together, she will be banished from Forning, and Aurora is not going to have her offspring to rule the kingdom, and it'll go to Aurora and her crazy nut job family. And it makes me sad because they belong together, and I just can't believe he left at the end, and he didn't show up at the end when she showed up at Matt's house. So I need to get the second book so I can figure out if Finn comes back, because Finn has to come back. Like, you can't just not have Finn back. Like, and let's talk about Tove, since we mentioned the corner. I kept saying corn something. Corner family, which is Aurora and the rest of her family, and they are Marks and Marxinas, and they are next in line for the throne if Wendy does not take over after Elora. And Tove is their son, and he strikes me as odd because when we first meet him at the family dinner, he doesn't talk, he doesn't say anything, he just looks down and does his weird mind things with the soup bowl. And I was like, okay, this is like some weird ass kid. What is he doing? And then, you know, he talks to her at the end of the night, and then he comes back to help her with her powers because Finn asked him to. And I was surprised Finn was friends with him, because nobody in the palace seems to like the corners. They just put up with them because they have to, or they'd be seen as unfit to rule. And yeah, he's actually not that bad of a guy, and he's pretty badass if you think about it. In that last fighting scene, he whoops some butt with those mind powers, and he saves Finn's life, and I was like, you have proved yourself to me. I like you. And Willa is a spoiled little brat. I hated her when I first met her because all she could talk about was all the possessions she's had because she's all rich and everything, and I was like, you can shut up. You sound like those annoying chicks at my high school. I don't like them. And then she proved herself in the end because she came through, and she turned out to be a true friend to Wendy, helping her get through all this and helping her fight through the attack and everything, and she just proved she was absolutely fantastic, and I loved her even more. This book was not one of my favorites, but is in a very good read, and I'm excited to continue the trilogy and see how it turns out. I'm hoping Wendy and Finn end up together and it has a happy ending to this trilogy, because I may go insane if it doesn't. And I'm pretty sure Finn has made it onto my list of fictional boyfriends. Alright, well that is it for this video. I will see you next time, hopefully with another book talk, Top 5 Wednesday tag video. I'll see you next time. So have a good night, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever. I'm Chrissy, and I'll talk to you next time. I'd be beaten into next Tuesday.
A text. You might want to read that. It might be important.
Sorry, my phone's going off. People need to stop blowing on my Twitter.